Hi, welcome back to Lovin Sheila, the podcast. We are here at episode 12. And I will say 12 was a bit difficult because it's been quite a week. Your girl came down with COVID, and this is like my first time being fully dressed and in a week. And so I'm back, I'm here. I didn't think it was going to happen today. I thought we were going to be doing the best of Lovin Sheila, but my producers and I, we got together and we're pressing through. And that's just like with all obstacles or anything that comes up in life, you just got to press through and you got to find your way. So here we are, we're back and we're ready to go. So like I always say, let's get right into it. I'm not sure how many of you are following along with me on this journey. And I'm hoping that, our tribe, we're all going along these things together, that we're doing it together, that we're being mindful and we're trying to conquer all these different tasks. Dealing with our mental health, trying meditation, exercise, eating right, all the things that I talked about previously, and just being holistic in our approach to loving ourselves. And it is, and I would say loving Sheila better, it is a journey because there's so many things that are happening, and there's so many things coming at you. Life comes at you fast. The pace is fast. There are going to be unexpected curveballs, like this COVID thing, that are thrown at you, and you still have to persevere. We still have to persevere, and we still have to keep at it. And it is challenging. I want to say also that we're doing the work. All the things that I mentioned previously is doing the work. So we keep incorporating new things in there, and doing the work, it's a verb, it's an action, it's work, it's conscious effort to do different things because we haven't evolved. We are not loving ourselves the best yet, the best that we can do. We haven't set up our boundaries, our fences, as good as they're going to be one day. We are tilling the land and laying the foundation, and then we're going to erect the fence. So we're doing all these things, and it's a process. Along with the process, one of the things that I wanted to stick with, because I have said I don't have a strategy necessarily. I'm really open to where I land. At the same time, I guess my strategy is, I'm doing the work. I'm concentrating. I'm meditating. I'm studying. I'm doing my coursework. I'm doing therapy. I'm doing the work. And so I guess that's my strategy. That really is the strategy. And what I found, at least for me, as I do the work and I execute my strategy, is oftentimes I am constantly thinking of, what's next and what do I have to do? And what it is doing is taking me out of the present. And so while I'm doing all that work, I need to make sure that I'm in the present, that I am dealing with life as it's coming at me, that I'm not so far ahead of, oh my God, that I extend my meditation to 20 minutes or 15 minutes, that I'm not so busy thinking about where I'm going, that I can't appreciate where I am and the success that have happened right now. So much so that I was talking to my therapist this week, and I said, I don't feel like I'm making progress. Now, again, I think that's part of me, the part of me that I'm trying to excavate, being a little hard on myself, because I guess in my heart I do want to skip to my loo and wake up and everything's just great and I'm fully evolved and I am executing my boundaries and I'm living the life that I have envisioned for myself. But it is a process. And so while I'm living in the present, we have to take an account of the victories that we've made along the way, or where we are. We need to be able to appreciate the things that we are doing. And so that's where I am today as I go through, my report card. Yeah, there's so many things that I want to do, so much more that I want to accomplish. However, I have to take into account of all that I have accomplished, how much more mindful I have been as compared to last year at this time. How much did I meditate last year? None at all. How much was I going to therapy? Not much at all, because I had pretty much taken a break, and I'm back and I'm doing it every week. And so now there are accomplishments that I need to recognize, and they are progress as far as my mental health, as far as my well-being. So just because we're not where ultimately we want to go, it doesn't mean that we should despise our small beginnings or where we're starting. We should still be able to see the value in the accomplishments of the day. And that's what I want to remind all of us to do, is to be present in our lives. Be present, take it all in. Don't get too far ahead of yourself in doing the work that you can't appreciate what is happening in your present day. I always remember, I was at Saks in Beverly Hills once, and it was probably 16 years ago. So, and I was trying on clothes with my girlfriend, and then I was like, I'm not going to get this because, I'm going to be pregnant soon, and, I won't be able to wear it anyway, because I wanted to have another child. Well, I never had that child. I was never pregnant soon, and I would have been able to wear it. And that's just a small example, but there are other examples of the same thing. I was thinking, okay, we're going to have a baby soon, and so I won't do this because I'm preparing for that. And that never happened for me. I was never pregnant again. I didn't have to put off buying, clothes because I was going to be expecting, because I didn't. But because I was so busy preparing for what might come or what I thought might come, I wasn't able to enjoy the present and buy, get what I wanted and wear it. So I guess what I'm saying to you all is just be aware. Like, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, because I think, again, that's a form of anxiety, getting too far ahead of yourself and trying to figure out how you're going to incorporate it all. I guess this goes back again to what I said last week, and that's have compassion for yourself. And that's what I attempted to do this week actively. I was on a roll where I was exercising, and pretty much, I think, exercising every day. And I recall Monday, I said, I'm taking off. I'm not really feeling good. I didn't know it was COVID, but I'm not really feeling good. I'm not going to hiking. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to chill today. But I was giving myself permission. That's something else we talked about last week. Give yourself permission. Allow yourself this. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I was giving myself permission to take the day off, not to exercise. I didn't know that my body was fighting, everything that it was fighting. There was a reason why I felt the way I felt. But my normal routine is to just do what I said I was going to do, what I set out to do. And I was grateful that I took the time to listen to my body and give myself permission to not do what I always do, and have compassion for myself, because, taking care of your body and exercising is loving yourself and taking care of yourself. But you also need to know when to draw a line and when to give yourself some rest, because you need that rest. You need to recuperate. And so, I've had almost a week now without much physical activity, and I'm sure my body needed it. And so I just want to encourage you all to listen, give yourself permission, have compassion on yourself. Don't forget those things. Be kind to yourself. And it's, again, not that we have apprehended or we are fully executing our strategy of loving ourselves, but we are every day taking steps in the right direction. interestingly, since I've been doing the podcast, I don't know how many people have told me, that's not Lovin Sheila, that's not Lovin Sheila, like throwing it back in my face. And Lovin Sheila wouldn't exist if there wasn't a need to do it better, to take this journey. If I had already figured it all out. But this is our journey. This is us doing it together and learning some things, picking up some things along the way to make us better, to make us better equipped to listen to ourselves and to take care of ourselves. So we're dealing with our relationships, and I think a lot of it is relationships. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about is relationships, because we keep talking about our boundaries and making sure that we're enforcing it and erecting it and taking responsibility for ourselves, because I always go back, like I told you before, we're the foundation, the foundation for all of our relationships. The things that happen in our lives, there may be some culprits, there may be some folks who have injured us, but ultimately the things that happen for me, I'm trying to take responsibility and ownership, meaning they may have happened, it may have been injurious to me, but now how do I set up my life to where I'm protected, I'm cared for, I'm enforcing boundaries, able to have good and solid relationships with people, because that's what we want. And that's the hope for all of it, just to strengthen our relationships, because when we're setting our boundaries, as we discussed, we are not setting it to set people back. We're just hoping to build a proper, healthy relationship where that's not. We need to know where we end and another person begins. We need to be connected in our relationships, because that's the beauty of relationships, is they connect you with folks. But at the same time, we're connected, but we also need to, the boundary is just kind of really knowing, okay, where you end and this person begins, so that you're not overlapping like that. So that is something that I was looking at this week. One of the things that I feel we need to do, and through my work with the coursework that I'm doing, is taking responsibility for resolving the pain in our lives. And that's what enforcing the boundaries, knowing that we are the foundation of our relationship, is us taking responsibility of resolving the pain. Because if we continue to not enforce our boundaries, if we continue to not recognize the role that we play in our relationships, then we will be victims. But how do you not be a victim? By taking responsibility, and taking responsibility of the role that you play and the role that you allow other people to play in your life, and reestablishing what is healthy. And sometimes you take responsibility even if it's not your fault or no fault. You're taking responsibility and you're taking ownership of the pain that this behavior, either someone else's or your own, has allowed to come into your life. So I'll say that again. It's not because we're taking responsibility, not because it's our fault or someone else's fault, but we're taking ownership, of our yard, of our boundaries, of our life, and what we allow to affect us. And so that's what I think we need to do as far as loving ourselves. Is, yes, there's some people who may be toxic or whatever, and you may want them out of your life, but at the same time, we're taking ownership of as much as we can, so that we can properly, till the land and have what type of plants and flowers and things like that we have in our garden, in our yard, within our boundaries, so we can have the proper things, so we don't grow weeds. So basically, our responsibility is eliminating the weeds that could possibly be growing in our yard. It's cleaning it up. It's, perfecting. It's pruning, actually. It's pruning and getting rid of what's no good for us and keeping what's good for us. And that's why, having good, healthy relationships with people who respect you, when you're doing the pruning, or when you're identifying, okay, this doesn't work, and this is how I would prefer that we handle this, or whatever, that the mutual respect comes in, and it allows for healthy relationships, because they're willing to make the adjustments, or willing to see where you're coming from, or to hear you, because it's very important that we are heard. So that's where wanted to say, we're taking responsibility, we're taking ownership, we are enforcing our boundaries, and letting folks know what is appropriate, what we will accept, what we will not accept. And that is going to help us to move forward in peace and love and joy and happiness. And that is the ultimate goal. We want to have peace. I think, especially at my age, the biggest thing that you want in your life is peace. You want to wake up and not be stressed out, and not have your mind racing. I know for me that is the hugest thing. So maybe I got off track a little bit, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. And I want to go back a little bit to being present, because I want to talk about the process. I don't know if I fully engaged in the process. There's some things that we would like to glide over, that we would like to, have it go quickly, or that we would prefer not to feel. But being in the present, it's going to mean you're going to feel the good stuff, and you're going to feel the not so good stuff, or the bad stuff, But in order to make it forward, in order to get through, you're going to have to deal with it. And it could be forgiveness, it could be whatever, but you have to feel it. And I did, and I told you this, I felt like I was mechanical. So many things throughout my life I have chosen not to deal with. And they have stayed right there. They never went away. It never wasn't like, oh, I didn't deal with this and now it's gone. No, maybe it's hidden, maybe it's on the back burner, maybe it's put on ice, but it's still there. And so now I'm hoping, and through this process of Lovin Sheila and building healthier relationships, I'm hoping to lean in to those things that I didn't want to address, or I didn't deal with. The pain in my life. There was a time this week where I did some things that were painful for me, and as I felt it, I realized I was crying, and I had tears, and I stayed in that. And I nourished it, that pain. I played music that spoke to it, but encouraged me. And I even took a picture of myself, a really bad picture of myself with the tears running down, because I wanted to also memorialize it. Like, on this day, I feel like this, and this is what I look like, and the tears are flowing, and my heart is broken, or I'm sad, or whatever the case may be. But I'm going to take a picture, and I stayed right there, and I felt it. Because if I ran, if I did an obstacle course and just tried to get by it, it's not going anywhere. So I had to embrace it, and that's what we do with pain. And in the process, I got a scripture that I want to share with you. It's two scriptures, and they're both in Psalms. One was, I believe it's Psalms 126. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. And that was what was immediately on my mind as I took that photo. And I was like, okay, so you're doing this and you're tearful, but there will be joy. It's coming. And so the good part of going through pain is when we talked like last week about having a spirit of expectation. We're not having pain just to have pain. There's a feeling of expectation that it's going to get better. Like, I'm doing this for a reason. Just like if you're working out and they say no pain, no gain. Okay, it's tiring. You want to throw up. You want to pass out. You want to sit down. Your knees hurt. Whatever the case may be. but you get to see the results of your labor. You know, your body looks good to you, or it's getting stronger. You get to see the results of your labor. So even in these painful situations, they hurt, and you want to give up. Like I told you, definitely there have been days when I wanted to give up. You know, like the children of Israel, just go back where I came from. But you know that it will get better. Days will get, easier. So you have to go through it. And I encourage you, endure it, figure it out, get through it. Again, you're stronger than you know. You're stronger than you know. So keep that in mind. And the other psalm, I'm going to have my producers put it up here for you. I think it's Psalm 27. And it says, I would have fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living, something like that. And just then I would have given up. I would have lost heart. And so, yeah, it's a real feeling, just know. But just have that spirit of expectation that, on the other side of this is joy. On the other side of this is peace. On the other side of this is strength. On the other side of this is happiness. And persevere. That's what loving ourselves is. Not placating, not putting salve on it to, a band-aid on it or whatever. It's to deal with it. Heal. I told you before, we're all searching for healing and we all want to be whole. So you can't be whole without healing those wounds. So let's deal with it. Let's stop covering it up. Let's address it. Let's feel it and let's heal it and let's move forward. And that's what it's all about, because I know there have been times in my life, I'm amazed at the strength that, God has given us. And when you lean into it, you have to lean into it, because oftentimes we just feel like, oh my God, I can't do it, can't take it. But you always can. You're always standing. You're always, most of the time, moving forward. You're making progress, even when it doesn't seem like it. Like I said, I talked to my therapist. I don't feel like I'm making progress. And we kind of identify some things. You're making progress. So even though you don't feel like it, you are progressing. So even though it may not feel like it, we are progressing. So keep that in mind. I'm guilty. This week I felt like, oh gosh, Lovin Sheila, I got so much work to do. I was sick. I was sick. And so maybe I wasn't able to do all the things that I wanted to do. And maybe mentally it played on me a little bit. But we are progressing and we are getting closer. We're closer today than we were yesterday. And so I want to encourage you all in that. And I was thinking, I remember there was one night some time ago, I literally felt like I would lose my mind. I felt like my brain just couldn't stop racing. It just couldn't stop racing. It was the middle of the night. It seemed like it was the middle of the night, but it could have been midnight because I'd go to bed early. And I woke up and I couldn't breathe. So I'm opening windows and trying to get some air to breathe, and looking for Nasonex so I can breathe. And my mind, I was just like, oh my God, can I just stop it from going? It's just like going. It was the worst. I think it was the worst I've ever felt mentally. But I breathed, and I took it all in, and I made it. And I survived. And that's what I want to tell you. Like, even though you have your dark nights, really dark nights, and sometimes it feels like, you're going to lose your mind. But just know that there's always boldness. There's always strength. There's always courage. And you have it inside of you. And even when you don't think so, just trust, trust in yourself. Trust in God, be confident in yourself and confident in God, the God you serve, and trust that you'll be okay, because, I serve the Lord Jesus, and he says he gives us power. He's not giving us a spirit of fear, but a power, love, and a sound mind. So though I had that racing mind that day, I had to realize that I have a sound mind. it feels crazy right now, but I do have a sound mind, and I'm powerful. I have strength over my mind. It can be subject to me. I can control it. And so just know, as you're progressing, as you're walking this walk, things come up, things that we don't expect, sickness, mental distress, duress. But just know that you are able, you have the ability, you're stronger than you think. Believe in your strength, reset your mind. You're capable. Stay present. Don't be anxious. So you don't have to think so far in the present that stresses you out. It was funny. I was talking to someone the other day, and he told me, he's like, I don't think about the past because it's depressing, and I don't think about the future because it just causes anxiety. And I was like, that's true. So stay right here in the present. Stay right here in the present. Go through the process. Feel what you need to feel. Get through it. Deal with your pain. Embrace the healing. And, we're going to be okay. Just another step in the process of loving ourselves. Another step in the process of me loving Sheila. I hope this encouraged you. I hope that you're thinking now of how you can stay in the present. The future's going to take care of itself. You keep doing what you're supposed to do today, the things are going to work out in the end, in the future. So mind the things that you can. Stay focused. Let's take care of ourselves. Eat good. Drink your water. Exercise. Be mindful. Meditate. Relax your mind. Do all the things you know to do. And stay present today, and so that you can achieve what we're all trying to do, which is we're all trying to achieve, which is a better self, a better life, a more loving self, more compassionate self. And that's what we want. So hopefully you enjoyed our talk today. Don't forget to get your shirt, your Lovin' Me shirt, at longwithbodywear.com. Use the promo code Lovin Sheila or podcast, $10 for you. I thank you for watching today. Thank you for joining me. Looking forward to seeing you again next week. And happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Thank you. Bye now.